Okay, so I got my data, and now we are going to process that data. So I got my external drive hooked up, so how we do it is we're going to go in and we are going to open Pixinsight, and that may take a minute. We're on my MacBook Pro, and that screenshot in the background there, that's actually some of the earlier data I processed of what we have captured. And my Mac's running a little slow today. Don't think it likes desktop recording. There we go. And we are running the latest version of Pixinsight here. Okay, so the first step we got to do is we got to stack the data we have collected. So to do that, we go into Script, Batch Processing, Weighted Batch Pre-Processing. We go ahead and we select that. Wait for that to open. Okay, so I already got my calibration frames loaded, and this is what I did previously. We're going to clear that. And the flat, this was for my UV IR filter. So I also captured just some raw star data. So we're actually going to process that first. So the UV IR works for that. So we go ahead and we go to lights. Okay, and we go ahead and we go to plus lights. Now I saved that data to my desktop here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to my desktop. We're going to go to NGC 1.1. We're going to filter it by kind. So the ones I want are the UV ones. So we're going to head and we're going to load those. So I did 5 of those. We're going to go ahead and click on open. And so now it's going to load those. So we got my flat, my dark. So we got calibration. Now I also like to take the drizzle data, but for these, I won't do that because I only got 5 of them. And we're going to set the output directory. So I already set up the folders for that on my external drive. So we're going to use Cygnus 2. We're going to make a new folder, and we're going to name it stars 1-1, create, and we're going to head and click open. And so now we got everything set up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to click run. And it's going to go through and it's going to stack those files. And this should be pretty quick because there's only 5 of them. Okay, so it's done. That took about 6 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and save the logs. And click done. Okay, and now we're going to do the other set of stars. So we're going to go ahead and clear out those ones. We'll add more lights. We'll go to desktop, NGC 69602-1. Same thing, select the ones with UV. Click open. We got to change the output directory. New folder. Stars 2-1. Create. Open. Once again, same thing. We're going to go ahead and click run. Click continue, and it'll go through. It should take about 6 minutes as well. Okay, so that took 5 minutes. It took a little bit less time. So we're going to go ahead and close that. We're going to save the log again. Okay, go ahead and click done. Now, I'm just going to clear the lights because I can. And then we're going to go ahead and exit out of that. And we're going to load up those two pictures to see how they did. So we're going to do open a copy. And we're going to go to Astro, which is the drive, Cygnus 2, Stars 1-1, Master. And we're going to look at this one, the Master Light, without the auto crop. Open that. And we're going to do the same thing for the other one. Stars 2-1, Master, Master Light. Okay. Those are just extra files. We're going to see what we're working with. We're going to go to Process, All Processes, Screen Transfer Function. We're going to use this. So these are what the raw images look like. They're very dim because they're linear, and they need to be stretched. So we're going to do an unlinked stretch. So we'll go with the first one, click that, you click the little chain, and then, so it's not selected, and you click this little nuke button. That's what that one looks like, and that's what that one looks like. So the stars, for the most part, look okay, but there's a bit of gradient there, so I'm not sure if we're going to use this or not, but I just wanted to do this. I probably won't even use these in this process, but that's that. So now we're going to stack the actual data for the nebula using the L Extreme filter. And there's a lot of this. So this is going to take quite a while to stack, but it's going to be pretty much the same exact process as I did before, except the flat files will be different. So because I didn't use the UVIR for this, so we're going to clear that out, and we're going to load the correct flat, which we need to go back. We're going to go to, so I have it saved on my drive here. It should be in this one, Cygnus, yes, Master Flat. And we want the ASI 533MC Pro, LXT, I believe that's a 585, 533. Do I not have it on here? I might not have it on here. Let's see, Astro, stacked. Oh, I think it's in this one. DSO, Master Flat. There it is. Yep, that's the one I want. Okay. Go ahead and we'll load the light files. Okay, lights. Desktop. 1-1. Go in here. Now we want all of the LXT ones. There's quite a few of those because I've done it over multiple nights. And we want to make sure we select the fit ones and not the JPEG ones, because the JPEG ones are just thumbnails, so we don't want those. But we want the .fit files. Go ahead and click open. And there are 61 total frames there. Okay. Now this one I do want to drizzle them, so we go over into post calibration, click on enable, and then I usually do 3x. And then we're going to make sure we select the right folder. Okay, we're going to go back to Cygnus 2. We're going to create a new folder, and we're going to do LXT 1-1. Okay, create, open. Okay, make sure everything's correct. Everything appears to be correct. And we hit run. Now, I am not going to record this whole process because this is probably going to take at least about 30 minutes, and I don't have infinite hard drive space, and you don't have infinite time. So I'm going to stop this and then pick it up when it's done. Okay, it's almost done. It's only taken about 46 minutes.
One eternity later.
Okay, so that took a while. 49 minutes and 24 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and exit out of this. I'm going to preview this just to see what it looked like. I'm curious. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Lots of detail in there. So not too shabby. Okay. So we'll close that. We'll clear out those lights. We'll add the second batch that we need. Desktop, NGC 2.1. Select everything but the UVs. Open. 83 frames. So there's actually more frames on this one. Change the folder. Alright, and we will go ahead and let this run, and I am not going to record all of this again. It's probably going to take another 49 minutes. So that's the one thing with the processing, is this is the most boring part because it takes forever. So I will go ahead and come back when this is done. Okay, so it's finally done. It took 51 minutes and 45 seconds, so just under 2 hours to do the processing alone. So we're doing a mosaic, so I am going to show you the process for doing that. So we're going to click done, save the log, click done again, exit. Okay, so doing a mosaic is a little bit different than doing your standard processing. So there's a few steps you got to do beforehand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my Finder. I'm going to create a new directory. Okay, I'm going to name it Mosaic. Okay. I'm going to go into here, I'm going to go to master, and I'm going to take the file that I'm going to be, one of the files I'm going to be doing the mosaic out of. Now, when you're doing a mosaic, you do not want to take the auto crop because both files have to be the same size. And in order to ensure that, you use the base file. So, I'm going to copy this one, and this is panel 1. I'm going to paste it in here, and then I'm going to rename it to panel 1, and And since I am using a drizzled file, we're going to go panel 1 D3, since I did a times 3 drizzle. Okay, we're going to go back here. We're going to go into 2.1, do the same thing. Okay, copy. Rename panel 2 D3. Now this is my method for doing it. You could possibly do it another way as far as naming and all that goes. It's really up to you. The names don't matter. You just got to remember what you name them. So now we need to do a plate solve on those files, and it's a little bit differently. So I go to Process, I go to Script, Image Analysis, Image Solver. Okay? And we do List of Files. So we're going to add the files. Okay, put in the Mosaic directory. We're going to select both files. We're going to click Open. Okay? And now we are going to plate solve those. And what it's going to do is it's going to plate solve them, and then it's going to append _WCS to the file name. It's going to put it right back in the directory it got them from. It's going to go through and it's going to process them. Alright, it's done. And that only took about 3 minutes. Okay, so the next step in it is you go to Script, you go to Mosaic, and you do a Mosaic by coordinates. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add the files, which it's already in the directory. So now, those are the files that created after the plate solve. So you're going to want to select both of those files. We're going to click Open. Okay, and then there's one other step we got to do here is we got to go to Output Images. We need to make sure it goes into that same directory. So go in there, Mosaic, this directory, click Open, and then it's going to create files that are named the same thing. So panel 1 D3 _WCS, and then it's going to add _registered to it. Okay? Go ahead and click OK. The resulting image will be very big, and it's not kidding. Do you want to continue? And you click yes. And it's going to go through, and it's going to register the files and put the information in so it knows exactly what each file is looking at, and you'll be able to overlay them. And this is going to take a while. Probably longer than the initial image solve took.
1 million zillion jillion dillion cotillion times later.
Not sure what the heck happened, but that took a really long time. I did recently download an update to Pixinsight, and I don't know if that's what the issue was, but usually that would have taken like 10 minutes, and it took the better part of 2 hours. So I'm going to look into that. So this next step is fairly straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I am going to open the files that were just done. Which are the ones that say registered. Go ahead and open those up. Hopefully this next process doesn't take forever and a year. Okay, so these are those 2 files. Okay. Now we are going to open that screen transfer function, we need to be able to see these two images. So it's panel 1, it's panel 2. We'll go ahead and do panel 1 first, same thing as last time. There you go, and then panel 2. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright. So now, there are two things I usually do before we try to merge, or there's a few things I usually do. But first, we are going to go to Script, Mosaic, Trim Mosaic Tile. So the reason you do this is to get rid of any rough edges on the image. So I usually do 20 pixels off on each edge. So I'll do panel 1 first, which is this one. Go ahead and run. You see it took some of the rough edges off. We're going to go ahead and do panel 2. Move this again so you can see it. And run. It's just going to take those rough edges off and go ahead and exit. And then the next step, you go to Script, Mosaic, Photometric Mosaic. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do panel 2 as the reference view, panel 1 as the target view. Then you got to set these settings. The defaults work pretty well, so we'll go ahead and try the defaults and click Run. And it's going to calculate the overlap of the image. And then it's going to stitch them together. Alrighty, so that didn't take forever, so now it's done. And this is what the final kind of mosaic looks like. So this is where the join region was. Okay. So we can go ahead and close these because we don't need them anymore. Okay. And I like this to be a horizontal image instead of the vertical like this. So I will rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise. Because that is the orientation I prefer. Then we will go down to this and we will zoom to optimal fit. Here we go. Okay, and so now we need to crop it so we don't have this black in here. So you go to Process, All Processes, and then Dynamic Crop. Okay? And let's see, we gotta find a good kind of crop point. I think that'll work. Sucks because we're going to lose some of the nebulosity here. That's fine. There are worse things. So we get that down about as close as we can get it. Same with this one. And then go ahead on the dynamic crop window and hit this checkbox. It's going to crop it down. That looks pretty good. So now we're going to have to redo the coordinates, the plate solve. So we go to Script, Image Analysis, Image Solver, and we can switch it back to Active Window. Okay, we're going to move this over here. We're going to use my local Gaia server, and I click OK. And it's going to examine the stars in the image and use the Gaia satellite database from NASA and the European Space Agency. It's going to compare the stars, and looks like it hung up. Oh, there it goes. So now it's detecting the stars. I guess it'll take a minute or so, because there are a lot of stars. Okay, and it went ahead and it got its coordinates. It knows what it's looking at now. So we are going to try a couple, we're going to do a few steps here. Now I'm going to use some paid tools with this. I highly recommend you get them. They're not too crazy expensive, but they're worth it. But when I use a paid one, I will mention it. But right now we're going to use a pretty basic one. We're going to do, okay, so this one's a paid one. It's called Star Exterminator. And we're going to remove the stars from the image. Now there's a free tool you can do with it that's, in my opinion, not as good, but it does work, and it's kind of a pain to install, but it's called StarNet++ or StarNet 2, but Star Exterminator works better, in my opinion. So it's going to take all of the stars out of the image, and it's going to create a second image with those stars in it. We're going to go ahead and let it do its thing. Okay, so it's complete. So this. Alright, so that's all the stars removed from the image. There's the image with no stars on it. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, so what we're going to do is we're going to do an automatic background extraction on this. So we go to Processes, Background Modelization, Automatic Background Extraction. Target Image Correction, we're going to do Subtraction. We're going to normalize, discard the background image, and go ahead and replace the target image. Take this triangle, drag it over here, and put it out. Okay, it appears it's done. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do an SCNR on the actual stars. We're going to go down to Process, All Processes, SCNR. I'm going to go ahead and close this. So one of the things with using narrowband filters is it can sometimes add a bad greenish hue, and we don't want that on any of our stars. So we're going to have green, average neutral, and we're going to take out all the green. Go ahead and drag that there, and that should go ahead and do that. It's done. Okay, so to make the rest of this easy, we're going to rename the identifier on these images. We're going to name this one Starless. We're going to do this one and call it Stars. And we're going to go into Processes. We're going to go and open up Pixel Math. So this is how we're going to stitch those stars back together. So it's just simple. We do stars plus starless. Now we go ahead and we hit the square. And it's going to merge the two images back together. And there we go. It's done so. So we go ahead and we close this. Open up the screen transfer function again. Make sure the chain's unchecked. Hit that. That's going to re-stretch out the image. So it got rid of as much as the background as I could. And this is what we're working with. Pretty nice, huh? Okay, and the next step we want to do is we want to do a color calibration. And for that, we're going to do a spectrophotometric color calibration. That's going to make sure all the stars have the proper colors. We'll just go ahead and open that and hit the box. It's going to go to the database and see what the stars should look like. It's going to attempt to correct them. Okay, so now it has corrected the stars to the best of its ability. Go ahead and close that. Open up the screen transfer function again. Go ahead and stretch it out. That's what we're working with. So at this point, what I am going to do is I am going to save this project, and I am going to call it a night because I am exhausted. So we're going to go to File, Save Project. We're going to give it a name, Cygnus Loop 2. Authors, of course, me. And we're going to make sure that this goes into the correct directory here. Go ahead and click Save, and then click OK. So as far as the editing goes, you're not going to notice really any time going by, but I am probably going to sleep for the next 5-6 hours because I've been up all night and the sun's coming up and I am exhausted. So
1 nap later.
okay, so let's pick up where we left off. So I did the color correction, all that. So the next step would be one of the best tools that you can get, called Blur Exterminator here. We're going to go ahead and open that, and then we're going to open up the one we're going to do next, which is Noise Exterminator. Alright, so generally I run Blur Exterminator with its default settings. Go ahead and grab that triangle. Drop it on there. And it'll probably take a little while. But what Blur Exterminator will do is it will go through and possibly fix any tracking or focus issues I have. It'll, bring out some of the finer details in the image. Um, but it makes a pretty large difference. The tool is fairly magical, but we'll go ahead and let this run. Okay, so it's done now. You see how much of a difference that made? It really made the stars much more pinpoint. Even brought out some of the detail in the image. They did a pretty amazing job there. Now, Noise Exterminator, I don't really ever run it at the default because with the default it could be way too aggressive. So I usually run it at about 45. And we'll see how that does. So grab that triangle, drop it on the image. And this one's usually a heck of a lot quicker. Alright, and so that's done. The effect from that was a lot less subtle, but it removed some of the noise from the image. So we can go ahead and close these two tools. And at this point, pretty much done. There's generally not a whole lot more to do. So if you're satisfied with the image, let's see, we'll go ahead and do a stretch on it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So if you're satisfied with it at that point, you can go ahead, you can open up histogram transformation. Okay. Take this, take the triangle from this, drag it to the bar on that. Then you can just hit that button. And that's going to stretch it. And then you can go ahead and save it as whatever you want. And you're pretty much good. Or you can go the anal retentive route, which is usually what I do. And we go ahead and close this, and we go to another process that you have to add called generalized hyperbolic stretch. And this is a little bit more involved, but it's pretty useful. So go ahead and open up the preview on that. And then the first step with this is you're going to want to do the black point. So you go to where it says generalized hyperbolic stretch here, and you go to linear. And then you're going to zoom this out so you can see the histogram here. You're going to go all the way over here to the left, like right to the very edge, click there, and do send to black point. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and apply it. Hit that box. Okay, and once that has been applied, hit the reset button. Okay, and then you're going to want to find a point like right kind of inside the edge there. Okay, click there. Hit send to SP. Okay, and once you do that, you're going to go to where it says stretch factor, and you're going to drag this bar over. And watch your preview there. You're going to want to bring out the detail. You don't want to go too crazy. Okay, you get it to where you see a decent amount of detail, but it's not completely blown out. You need to take the local intensity and you drag that bar over. You get it to a nice even point. Okay, you get it to kind of where you like it. Same thing, click the apply button. Okay, you're going to go ahead and hit that reset button. Okay, you're going to zoom it out to 1, and then you're going to take this and go like right to the middle point, like that. Click, send this, send to SP, and then the same thing you did before. Take the stretch factor bar, kind of drag it to the right, get it to where you can see a decent amount of detail, but it's not too blown out, and you're going to drag this part. Just find a nice little even point. Okay, once you got it about where you like it, go ahead and click that button, the apply button. And go ahead and hit that reset. Okay. And what I generally do at this point is I go back to the linear, and then I adjust that black point again. Oh yeah. There you go, and I like that. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. The reset button. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. Close this, and then this would be our final image here. Look at that. That just looks stunning. Go in, you can see all the detail. You know? There we go. I am pretty satisfied with this. And we go ahead and at that point we go to File, we do Save As. And I usually go into the main directory here, and I will name this Cygnus Loop Final. Save it as a PNG, and click Save. And we're done. So that is a basic Mosaic processing guide. Now you can go much more involved in it if you want, but that is generally what I do. So hopefully this has been helpful to you, and you can make your own mosaics from now on. This process is essentially the same, whether you do a 2-panel, 4-panel, however many panel you want. You could follow these steps to get to it, and there you go. So until next time, 7 threes, and have a good time, and hopefully you can get some good star images out there. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below, and I will get to them as I can. Bye.